Hi, this is Freya from Otherworldly. I've had a bit of a hiatus from lengthier blog posts and certainly from videos while being on vacation and generally being busy during the summer. But just before we left on vacation, Uber's current round started and there was a release from Vista as well. And both of these things were decide made me decide that I really needed to do a video once I got back. So now that I'm back home, I wanted to show you the Roman bathhouse from Tia, which is still available at Uber. And I ended up buying the fat pack with all of the accessories to decorate my bathhouse with, because even if it's very nice as a default configuration, and it does include some nice post sets, having all the additional decor just made it all that more special. And then we have the reason that I am not in a female avatar today, which is the latest Bento head from Vista, and they have released a male head called Gerard. And since I've really enjoyed the female Bento heads from Vista, I thought this one deserved a look as well. And after demoing it, I decided that it definitely needed to be purchased as well. So basically, I'm going to start, I think, with the bathhouse. I'm going to give you a little tour of it, and then I'm going to give you a look at the hood and a closer look at the head. So I'm going to zoom out at first here and show you the overall view of the bathhouse. And I think it is really gorgeously textured and very nicely modeled and looks very Roman to me. I won't claim to be an absolute expert on Roman bathhouses, and I'm sure there are anachronistic details, but I do have some classical archaeology training, and I think that most of the details are excellent at evoking a Roman feel. I'm not sure if it's one that I would place in Rome proper or Roman Britain. That would probably come down to material choices and so on. But it is very nice. It is a little large, as many SL builds are, at least for the avatar sizes that Ran and I prefer. But it is not overly large. The doors do look a little imposing for our avatars, but the furniture isn't too bad. And certainly having it perfectly correct in size would have made camming inside of it to film even harder, and it is a little tricky as it is. So here we have the entrance to the bathhouse, which you can decorate with this fountain, one of the accessories. You have these nice vines and a laurel leaf in a pot that you can put up, and then of course this nice scribe's desk. I guess you could use it to enter in the visitors to the bathhouse and make sure they pay up and don't stay too long in there. So you have a selection of poses: writing, desk work, reading, just sitting around, and most of them have both male and female options. So it's great for that, because a lot of times you might just have female options, but no, here there's plenty for the guys as well. And the attention to detail in these pieces is excellent as well. So I'm going to stand up and move myself into the bathhouse proper. As you can see, yes, here was what I meant. I look a little bit like a dwarf at the door here, and I'd say this is a pretty normal size or realistic size avatar. Here we have some more seats set up. This is another package that you can add on, or if you buy it as a fat pack, it's included. So you can have a little waiting room here. There's obviously room to decorate this room more if you have some other furnishings that would work. You have torches that you can place on the walls here and there. And then you have these nice drapes for curtaining off the main bath area. And the bath and the pool comes with sounds. I'm gonna go get my toga wet right now and wander into the pool like this and try and not keep stuff behind walls all the time. But there we go. And here I really like the mosaic. The mosaic in the pool itself is beautiful. The mosaic on the wall, slightly faded, gorgeous as well. Here's another version of the fountain. Those are both of those are included in the same package, so you get a freestanding and one to put on the wall above your pool, or if you're using it somewhere else. Now, these are the poses that are included with the bathhouse if you buy just the bathhouse, and they are adult poses. I'm going to show you the basics of it, but I'm not going to actually give you a look at the adult poses because then I'd have to restrict this video, and I prefer not doing that since I don't have like a huge amount of viewers on the YouTube channel anyway. But you have poses for dominant and 2 submissives. You have solo, couple, and threesome poses. The solo poses include sits, like this, and they include baths, and they include swimming. So I could take a bath as well. Just have a little scrub. Obviously, you shouldn't bathe in your toga, but in this case, I'll make an exception. It would have been nice to have some of those outfits that have been released. I think it's Salt and Pepper that have done that react to water and so on. Obviously, this is not SL water, so I don't think it could actually be scripted to work with that, but that would have been cool. Wash my hair a little bit and so on. So you have quite a few pose options. And oops, there I'm showing you what I'm not wearing under my toga, fortunately. Oh, this wouldn't stay PG. But anyway, you have a lot of pose options even if you buy just the bathhouse, but then you are missing out on some of the lovely decor. Obviously, just these mosaics that you have here are very pretty in themselves and look super. Here you have 2 smaller pools. They have pose sets as well. I think they're the same in all of them, but they are adjusted for the different positions. So you can have quite the pool party in here. And then if we go through here, we have 2 more rooms. Again with the big door. And here we come into the Roman sauna. And you have, this is again another add-on set. And you have some fragrant herbs in the roof to give off scent when you're sitting in here sweating. You have the a small seat here, a short sauna bench, and the long sauna bench. These are adult poses as well, both of them, and they have again the same configuration of room for 1 dominant and 2 submissives, at least on the long bench that I tested earlier. I'm gonna test the short one this time. Sit here. Yes, I have. Actually, this one is just solo and couples. So you have your solo sits. You can get a foot rub, and there are options for male and female avatars here as well. And I'm gonna adjust myself because I'm always sinking in. There we go. So you can have a nice relaxing time here, sweating away. And again, of course, you wouldn't actually be wearing clothing here. Maybe a loincloth at most. But this one, I think, you know, it doesn't necessarily look super, other than the seats. You could use this as any sort of sauna if you just wanted that. And most of the time I buy these things not for roleplay purposes. I don't roleplay in Second Life. We do our role-playing on good old text-based games. We still run one of those, in fact. So we don't really use roleplay props for roleplay. I use them for photos, and they're great for that, getting a variety of photos, especially with the sort of fantasy blogging that I mainly do. But if you are using it for roleplay, you might possibly be able to use this as a bit more of a modern set if you use other setup in the area, especially in the sauna. Anyway, here the last room. I'm going to try not to babble quite so much, but this is something that I just had to get. I don't know that I will ever use it for much. Maybe some photos. Definitely not for roleplay. But when I was getting the fat pack anyway, you know, this had to be included. And I was glad to have it. This is the Roman toilet, and I love how it is done. It is a proper Roman toilet. Oops, and here you don't see anything because I'm standing on the toilet. But I'm going to have myself a seat on it. And I'm gonna pick the middle seat. And I'm very twitchy at the moment, so I think I'm gonna switch myself to something more dignified so that I can sit here as a Roman doing business. And I think we'll skip on the smelly poop option at least. That doesn't sound like anything I want in my video. But yes, you have some toilet poses here, and you have a nice communal toilet because that's how the Romans did it. And here you have this running water for washing off things, including these lovely sponges, which are basically Roman toilet paper, or the tush sponge wipes. Yes, this is what you would use to wipe your bottom if you were a Roman. And then you would wash it off in the water, and then you would put it back. So it's not like you brought your own. A little gross for us perhaps, but that's how they did it, and they did build fantastic roads and aqueducts, so I guess it works even if you're using communal sponges in the bathroom. And here you have some scented oils for improving your scent after using the bathroom. So I like the little floating text on these: touch to be a good citizen, touch to be an even better citizen. And yes, that will actually have an animation. You will use one of these sponges, and here you will use the oils. I don't quite remember how this one looks. I tested it out a little quickly, but no, it actually just says that you do it. So and then you scent yourself. So that's how it goes. I don't think the water has any thing related to it. But anyway, I think that this is such a fun piece. It is done with such attention to detail. So I'm really glad that I was getting the fat pack anyway, and got this one included. So now I'm gonna wander out into the main pool room again, and there we are going to take a look at the Gerard Bento head. Like I said before, I've really enjoyed the female heads from Vista. I think that they're done with a great attention to allowing a lot of freedom from the sliders, but not so much that things start to break down. That's one of the problems that I had when I was demoing Catwa heads, for example. Lilotka is a little more restrictive, I feel, than Vista, but still manages very well to keep it from breaking down. You just can't adjust the heads quite so much. Vista gives a little bit more freedom, even if some of the options, even if they don't break down, might not look great. But overall, I enjoy the Vista heads a lot. I think they are definitely perfectly comparable, thank you, English, with Lilotka heads. The animations are great. The only drawback compared to, to some degree Lilotka, but even more so Catwa, is of course availability of skins. With female heads, there's a decent amount, or an okay amount for Omega these days, and for Vista itself. So you get by. For male heads, there's not that much for Omega that's good, unfortunately. There's a few logo-specific ones, very few. There's now a couple of Vista-specific ones. Fortunately, the default one that's here included, from Clef de Peau, is a really nice skin, and I hope that they will do more. But my main hope for investing in these heads is really that Bakes on Mesh will come out sooner rather than later, and we will be able to use, wear a regular system skin and have it apply to any head. As long as the head, sort of the map, has been kept relatively close to the SL default, most skins will apply nicely. I have in fact tested some of the female heads, in the Bakes on Mesh viewer, and I have applied some of my older skins, and even though those are only at 512, once Bakes on Mesh is released, it will allow 1024 textures for regular system wearables as well, which will make for crisper skins. But even the 512 skins look quite good on the Vista head, and it is quite clear that Vista has stayed, at least with the female heads. I haven't done it with Gerard yet, they've stayed close to the default UV map from SL, which means that any skin makers who stay close to it should be perfectly wearable on those. So I suspect, I know already that Light Star works very well as well. I think Lilitka works pretty well too. I haven't tested on any Katva ones because I only have demos. My understanding is that their UV map is more different. That's why some people have had to create separate skins for them and so on. But I'm kind of hoping that once it is out, you'll see more skins that cater to the big bunch of heads that stay close to the SL UV map. Anyway, that's a little bit of a tangent, and we are going to take a closer look at this pretty boy. I really like the options for how you could do the profile on this skin, on this head. I like the nose a lot. It can become quite bold. I like the shape of the lips. They're not overdone. They feel quite natural. The cheekbones and the jawline, all very nice. The eyes come out excellent. Not too big, not too small. The eyes that I'm wearing here are included with the head. In fact, we're going to take a little look at the hood, and there you'll see that there are, among the options, there are eye colors for the included eyes. And you can install the Vista Omega applier on those as well, which means that you'll be able to use any Omega eye applier. The skin set included is this default skin in 5 tones from cleft to paw. You have brows and browless. Have some makeup options. You have lashes. Not at all as full as female lashes, but appropriate for a guy, more or less. These could have been a little fuller to get that super gorgeous look, but okay. Brow options, 2 types of hair bases, and a set of facial hair. And I think I'm actually going to show you some of the facial hair here. We'll see how the blonde version looks with the hair. It's quite dark anyway, but are they really supposed to be like that dark in the blonde version? They feel but they look nice though. So you have 6 different options in a couple of color versions here. I might actually have to check into that because that feels about as dark as some of the others. Let's see if the red is any different. They're all quite dark, or is it because I have the blend? No? I'm a little confused, I have to admit. That they are all coming out so very dark. But at least there you see the options for facial hair, and then you have this one for turning it off. Well, that one gives a nice sort of light stubble version. I think there may just be very subtle shadings to it, possibly. I'll have to compare that more closely. You have some basic tattoo options. I think there's some freckles and then some just some tiny little designs and so on. Most of these, obviously you'd buy additional ones if you had an interest in that. It's just sort of to give you a basic package. You have teeth and tongue options. There are teeth included, rigged teeth, of course. And you got the basics of neck size for different bodies. More of an issue with male bodies, I discovered, than with female ones. And I found it was a little tricky to get it to work. First of all, I'm not strictly sure if SL or SLI is for slink. And one of them blended better and the other fit better with the size of the neck. So it's possible that I'm doing something wrong here because I don't set up male bodies and male heads that often. But it looks pretty good here, at least. You don't really have any sort of sharp demarcation or anything. I know there was some update to the clefted paw bodies, and I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it, although this is a new applier. Anyway, let's move on to the AO. And as you can see, I'm using two of the moods here. I'm using the neutral and the flirting. That's why he's occasionally waggling his eyebrows at you and winking. I think that these animations, for the most part, are really good. Yes, some of them tend to be a little exaggerated, but that's kind of the case with all of these animations, especially the expressions. But the moods, for the most part, are very usable. I use one almost all the time on the female ones. Some of the ones like sad and I think seductive can get a little overboard. But it's great for trying to catch something different in photos. Again, that's what I'm using it for, not so much roleplay or socializing. It's all about catching interesting moments in photos. And Bento heads add so much to that. It's amazing how much more feeling and emotion you can get into the photos by using the expressions like this. So having that is super. You've got some options for basic mouth poses, basic eye poses if you just want to close your eyes a little bit, turn your blinking on and off, and so on, whether you want it to reflect talking, and you can save your own sequences and put it together like that. So it's a nice HUD. It's a fully featured head. I don't remember what the price landed on. This was bought during the promo period, which I think was 1000L, which is ridiculous. Or possibly 1500, I don't want to lie to you. But now it is at the Mesh Body Addicts Fair, unless that one has closed. Keeping track of dates right now is a little bit of a blur. And it is, I think it is 2, maybe 2.5. Terrible, I should have looked this up beforehand. I'll try and put it into the post if I remember to. But it is well worth it. Either way, it's much cheaper than both Lilica and Logo. And it's a really nice head to work with. And as I said, even if you don't have that many skins right now, hopefully it won't be that long before Bakes on Mesh is out. And even if, the male skin market is slim anyway overall, you should have some more options by then. And I think that, if it takes off, then that's what's needed for more skins to be created, especially from a creator like Cleftabot, seeing that there's actually interest for the Vista skins. Ideally they all made Omega skins, because then I could use it on all of them. But until that changes, that's what we're stuck with. I'll definitely recommend this head, however, if you're in the market for a new male head. And I definitely recommend that you check out the Pompeii Bathhouse at Uber. There is a demo of it. It's also available on our sim, on just Revelations. It's rest out at ground level, and yes, you're allowed to poke around in it. Just beware if you decide to do something naughty. It is a mature sim, not an adult sim. That's not to say that I don't do things up in the air for photos, or even here. But I do cam around on my sim quite a lot to see what's going on. So, no, you're not in private if you decide to check out the adult poses. But feel free to come and have a look around and get a feel for what the bathhouse is like. Perfectly welcome. And I hope to be back with a new video much sooner than the gap between the last two. I have a couple of things that I haven't managed to video that I might be catching up on. So until then, which hopefully shouldn't be too long from now.